Hello, I'm Bob Ganzak, and this is Motivation You, the podcast. Hello, live from the Coach's Podcast Room here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill at Celebration Point. This is Motivation You, the podcast. And yes, it is my birthday, and there is no better guest that I could have on this show than my own son on my birthday. Probably, I started something a couple of weeks ago, which I refer to as the RPS, the Relentless Pursuit of Success. And I modeled that after him because when I was thinking about my son, that relentless pursuit of success is something I admire the most about him. So every week we're going to try to talk about somebody who has that relentless pursuit of success. But let me introduce you the person that inspired that thought, my son, Matt Ganzak. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Oh, thank you. I like that. It kind of sounds like I'm just messing up all the time. So it sounds like I'm just, I'm inspiring, how you can get through failures and finally, turn the corner on something. So, I mean, that's cool.
Well, it's the relentless pursuit of success is something that every single day you're focused on doing one thing and achieving your goal and your success, and you do that from the morning. But it's not just financial success or business success, it's life success. And that's something I admire about you. Something in a conversation we had the other day where you said that, you work through breakfast, but you and your lovely wife, Sachi, and your beautiful daughter, Sophia, have lunch together and have dinner together. And those are the things that are part of success that people can admire. And so it's that relentless pursuit of success always, no matter what's going on. That's the point behind it.
Well, I appreciate that. And another thing is I try to cook or prepare every lunch and dinner. So no matter what's going on, I definitely want to be present and spend that time with them. So, I mean, I can literally get off a call with somebody, where I'm, trying to overcome whatever difficulties, and I just set it down and cook dinner and spend time with them. So it's something that's really important to us, and I don't understand how anyone could operate outside of that construct of time, spending time with their family like that.
That is awesome. Yeah, going back in your world, business wise, back to when you were like 15, 16, there was a man that I very much admired that that very well, Mr. Ernie Wynn, and he once said something about you to me. He said, "That's the best salesman I ever met," and you were a 15-year-old person at the time working at Play It Again Sports. Something about pizzas, Papa John's Pizzas, and another company on the weekend, and going to school and getting good grades and everything else. What was it about, you at that time that you enjoyed so much getting out there and interacting and being in the business world?
Yeah, the biggest thing was the pesky child labor laws, and you could get around it by working for 3 companies 20 hours a week, and you could still get paid from 3 companies. So that's why I had 3 jobs, because couldn't just work one, stupid laws. But from that standpoint, I feel like I wanted to have different experiences, and each one of those jobs gave me a different experience. And, working at, Papa John's gave me experience of, food and hospitality and, dealing with customers. And, the Played Again Sports gave me that experience of selling and earning commissions, which was something that was really interesting to, a young kid, 15, 16 years old. Like, why would I, why would I get people walking in that are, looking at $50, tennis rackets or whatever, when I can just snipe the people that are walking around the $1,000 treadmills? And I started selling crazy amounts of treadmills just because I could sell to whoever, and just kind of got my pitch down and started earning commissions on, the things that I was selling and so forth. And then even started going out and doing outside sales and trying to bring people in, to sell them gyms, home gyms, and, different things like that. So, I started getting that hunger from there. And then computers and technology, I started getting around, new technology that was emerging. Apple had just dropped some of their new technology at that point. And, I really, found a love for it, and, learned how to start fixing computers and, doing a lot of things that would become part of my future. So really it was just a hunger. And I think it probably started with having to, pitch my parents to let me go and, play with my friends after sundown, or, whatever sort of, pitch, if you let me do this, then I'll do this type negotiation, which started pretty early on. And you let me do that because, I started developing those negotiation skills, which I can imagine, kids have difficulty doing that today. Like, it's just like, no, 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 no. Like, the word no, like, as we're born into this world, we have this infinite possibilities of yes. And it's the no's that change us and rewire us to become, these people that just feel like the success is never going to happen. And, no, you can't accomplish that. You can't do this. You can't do that. And, being in a world of yeses, where you have to articulate what you want and come to the table with a fair negotiation, is basically what drives my business today. Like, I had a guy yesterday that wanted me to come on and just said, hey, what's your price? Just name your price. Wants me to come on and fix something for him. Right. So I said, well, here's my usual cost. And, here's a baseline of what I usually do. And then I got on the call yesterday to kind of assess where they are in the situation. And they're nowhere near where he thinks they should be in their mind. So, I mean, to me, that's like, all right, well, now I have more responsibilities that I need to take. So we were here. Now we have to go up to here because of the considerable amount of extra work that needs to be done. It's just negotiation. And, that's probably 80% of my success is having a hunger, having the drive, and being able to clear and fairly negotiate terms, come to terms, agree, and proceed forward.
It's interesting that even as a youngster, when we first moved to the Lakeshore area, St. Joe, Michigan, you would go around to neighbors' houses and set up their VCRs and their television sets and wire those things for them as a 10, 11, 12-year-old, which I always admired that as you wanting to do those things for other people. It was always serving others. Matt, talk about your mindset. You were living in Valdosta, Georgia, and you made a decision to move to New York. And I'll just tell a snippet of the story. Is you got a job interview but you had already rented a room up there. And when the guy asked you, where are you staying? I got myself an apartment. He said, why did you do that? I mean, because you told him, because you're going to hire me. I mean, where was the mindset when you moved to New York and started working for that company there?
Yeah. So, I had the concept that, if I could do anything in the world, what would I do? And where would I put myself? And I more or less had a job offer from the Detroit Red Wings, and it was running there. They called it new media, which was social media back in 2008 to them. And, I was considering moving to Detroit. And I called up one of my family members in Detroit, and they said, don't move here. Like, pick where you're moving, not the job that you're moving to, because if something happens to that job, you can always find new jobs. So at that point, I decided, all right, now where are the places that are, completely recession proof, if you will? And I basically decided New York and LA. And considering I don't really, jive with LA that well, I'll move to New York. And so I made the decision of where to move to. And that was, decision number one. And then, all right, now I have to find a place to live and I need to find a job, right? Because you have to have those two things in order to survive. So I started reaching out to companies, and I had one company reach out, and they liked me from the standpoint of I recorded a video of myself wearing a suit and tie. It might be the last time I wore a suit and tie that wasn't at some sort of funeral or wedding. I wear a suit and tie, and I recorded a video of myself explaining everything I wanted to do. And then I created a website that had 3 tabs on it: past, present, and future. Where I was, and here is my work history and my drive and everything that I want, and where I am now, what I'm looking for, how you can fulfill that, and future, where I want to take your business and where I want to help you grow. And then the contact page had a video on it. Just my website alone, and made them reach out and say, I want to talk to you. And they had hundreds and hundreds of resumes, and all local people. And I was the most difficult one because I was so far away. So we had a couple phone calls, and the marketing guy was like, yeah, I really like you. I want to fly you up here. Tell me the cost. And I was like, yeah, all right. So it's like 300 and some dollars for the ticket, whatever, for round trip. And then I just went and bought a one-way ticket, saved the rest of the money, pocketed it, got an apartment, locked that down with a guy that he had a website. So I figured he was legit. So I gave him, I don't know, $2,000, which was all the money that was in my bank account. I think I had like $200 left over, and I moved up there. So he was really worried, when I moved in with 3 suitcases, and it was basically everything I owned. I abandoned my car, my dog, everything, and just kind of
Your house?
left my house, just abandoned everything and said, I need to go. I have to go figure this out. And went in for the job interview, and they're like, oh, well, what hotel are you staying at? I got an apartment. Like, oh, well, do you have a job here already? No, you're going to hire me. And, the guy was like, all right, well, this job, after talking for a little while, this job's, 30,000 a year and comes with some benefits that are great. And so forth. I would like for you to come in tomorrow and work with us for a full day just to, see how things work. And I said, well, that's not going to work for me. I need 60,000 plus your benefits and everything. So I need double what you're offering. And that was the bare minimum I needed in order to pay the rent that I agreed to. And he was like, all right, well, we'll see how things go tomorrow. And so I had to go in and prove myself. And I was literally doing things I had no idea how to do. And, just trying to figure it out. I asked him to give me some intel, beforehand on exactly what it was that he would want me to do. And I watched some YouTube videos and try to teach myself crash course within 24 hours and of, what they were trying to deliver in that workday. And at the end of the workday, I was dressed up, suit and tie and everything for my workday. And at the end of the workday, they're like, all right, we want to offer you the position of $60,000 a year if you don't ever wear a suit and tie in this office again. I said, deal, we're good. So that's what we did. I got the job, and, I started managing part of the team, leveled up, making 6 figures a year, and built my business on the side. When it surpassed my 6-figure a year income, then I quit that job, and here we are.
And you spent quite a few, like 6, 7 years there. It was quite a while that you were there. Matt, what would you give to advice to a 21-year-old, a 22-year-old, in a short synopsis from what you learned through that experience? If you were going to give like a one statement to somebody advice what you learned from that experience, how would you encourage somebody else in that area?
Well, the first thing is, I look at Instagram today and I look at Facebook and TikTok and social media and everything. And I know what this 21-year-old is consuming. I understand like they're, seeing Lamborghinis and, $1 million mansions, and they're seeing all this thing. And it's like, if you do this and this and this, you will, achieve this and this and this. It's, the shiny object syndrome, right? And the one thing that I would tell the 21-year-old today is ignore the shiny objects, and go and find a mentor. Go and work for somebody that's literally doing the work, that has a real company, has employees, runs a business, is trying to grow the business, and so forth. Go work for them, because because I was already an entrepreneur at that point. I had been doing multi-level marketing from 2007 and on, and I was making good money from some of those things. But the one thing that I didn't have when I was doing all of that was a mentor. I didn't have somebody that was running a multi-million-dollar, that was like a 8-figure plus business, teaching me and showing me all aspects of the company. So the strongest step I took forward as an entrepreneur was getting a job and going and working for somebody that empowered me and gave me the knowledge, and paid me a lot of money too, to go and do that work, and gave me all the knowledge and everything that I needed to succeed. So that was the best step I ever took as an entrepreneur, is getting a job.
So go out and get a job. Well, yeah, when you tell that story, it sounds like almost like you were an overnight success. And I can assure you that, he started working when he was a young child. He talks about negotiating. He used to negotiate with his younger sister he would pay her to do his chores. So he'd get his
my homework
allowance. Pardon me?
She did my homework, because I don't understand why they had high schoolers coloring still. I mean, maybe that's a problem that's going on in our world today, is you have teachers asking high schoolers to color. Like, what are you talking about? Teach me taxes, teach me accounting, teach me anything that is going to help me later in life, not coloring.
Teach me
you know how many times I've colored?
Oh,
it's ridiculous. So I would pay her to do my coloring homework in high school, and stuff like that. It's absolutely ridiculous. But I would negotiate with her.
But there was a constant stream of business that you were involved in. I mean, you worked inside our radio stations for a while. You worked inside our marketing company for a while. And in each place you went to, you came in as a part-time person, and then became a huge asset to the organization, which, that's something that is inside of you. That's when I talk about that relentless pursuit of success, that no matter what you are going to do, you're going to do it at a high excellence level. And that's what I see lacks sometimes, where people just want to get by.
Yeah. And what I tell people all the time is overnight success takes a lot of overnight work. So if you want to be an overnight success, quote unquote, air quotes, you're going to have to spend a lot of nights and weekends working on that overnight success. And eventually, it will teeter and tip, and, success and all these wonderful things, pour out. But, the key is going and working for somebody that already has something established, because the hardest thing is going 0 to 1. Peter Thiel, Facebook has a 0 to 1 book. One of the hardest things is going 0 to 1. Go and find a company that's already profitable and moving and can pay you a fair salary and has staff and all those things. And, you gave me, some of those opportunities to go and do that. And I remember very early on, one of your first things that you asked me to do is, hey, now that you're, managing people, go fire Donnie. And I was like, who's Donnie and why am I firing him? And, oh, he's, not coming into work, he's missing his voiceovers, he's not doing his weekend shifts and so forth. So I just went in and talked to him and I said, hey man, what do you want? And what is it that you want to do? And he's like, I want to drive the vans and I want to just be out and, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right, well, we can create a new scenario for you. And, in a sense, like I went back and said, I didn't fire Donnie. I kind of gave him a promotion. Like, what are you talking about? I took him out of what he didn't like doing and I put him into something that he liked doing. That a decision as being a 21-year-old and starting to learn management skills. I would have never been in that position at 21 years old. I would have never built the management experience that I had, and I would have never been able to go on to do the things that I was able to do. And then the other thing is solving problems. You gave me problems that you didn't even know were problems, and I found ways to create solutions, such as, all right, well, you have two morning shows that are being board opped at the same time, and I know how the wiring works because I literally pulled the wires up in the attic during the summertime, which I don't know. Like, I don't think I ever got paid for that, by the way. But, I did all the work and did all the things that needed to be done and, didn't complain about it, just got it done.
He did get paid.
I don't know about all that, but I did all the work. It needed to be done, right? And never complained, never, anything, just crawled up in there and just got the work done. But from doing that, I was able to learn how the wiring came into the studio. So I was able to say, like, all right, all we have to do is pull this wire from here to here, and we can literally run two morning shows from the same thing, eliminating one position and reinvesting that back into other areas. You were able to reinvest that back into me, give me a raise, and then I was able to go and, do wonderful things for the stations and advertising and, imaging the stations, which then gave me the knowledge to go and do the other things that I had to do and, really catapulted me. But if I had the mindset and the attitude of that's not my job, and, that's not part of what I was hired to do, I would have never, had that catalyst that would become what I am today. And I would say that is my mindset of that's not my job. Once you eliminate that from your vocabulary and from your mindset, it really opens up, what will happen in the future and what can happen in your future. And, that's probably one of the biggest catalysts of my success, was eliminating that.
Well, one of the things that I will say, I can't take any of the credit for what Matt's talking about because I have to spread that credit to somebody else that was really a key. One of the things that I did right at that point was I made sure that Matt reported to somebody that wasn't me, when I work with teams that have fathers and sons, that's a difficult thing. But Matt actually reported to the current mayor of Valdosta, Georgia, and a lot of the management and leadership that Matt learned from that experience at the radio station has to go credit to Scott James Matheson, who was Matt's supervisor, and they have a good friendship. I mean, Scott admires Matt very much. And now he's mayor of the city, but I've got to spread that credit to Scott also for working with.
Oh, absolutely. And some of the other people on the radio station were like, Matt, I don't want to be you. Like you have two bosses that call you at all hours of the night. Like it could be 2 a.m. and it's like, hey, something's down on this station. Will you run up to the station real quick and fix it? And, I don't care. I just had that attitude of like, whatever needed to be done is going to get done. And once people started seeing like, I don't want to be Matt, I was at this station at 5:30 a.m. and a lot of times I was there until 5 o'clock at night. You let me take a long lunch break and we had the golf membership so I could play 9 holes during my lunch break. And it was the only thing that kept me balanced of working 12-hour days. 6 days a week, often Saturdays doing remotes. But, point being, like, I just had the mindset of, I just need to do whatever it takes just to gain that experience and get the work done. And I never asked for more money. Like, I never asked for, I need a car, you got someone else a car, like I need a car too. I had none of that entitlement. I just knew what needed to be done. And it was invaluable work experience that, just parlayed through my entire career.
we'll go back to the opening, relentless pursuit of success. And that is the attitude that we talked about. When we're going to take a break in about 5 minutes. We're coming to you live from here at the Coach's Podcast Room in Spurrier's Gridiron Grill at Celebration Point. Behind us here on my camera, we got all of Coach Spurrier's helmets that adorn this beautiful wall behind me, which is an awesome place to do this show from. Matt, in the next couple of minutes before we go to break, you had a mentor when you went to New York, the gentleman that owned the business that passed away. Share with us and the audience some of his traits that you admired, because you really, really cared for that man.
Some of the first things that come to mind is he didn't take care of himself. And that's not an admiration, but when you ask me to share some traits, like I can't not mention that aspect of life. And he might still be with us today if he would have taken better care of himself. So I would say, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, one of the lessons I learned is how important it is to take care of yourself, eat well, and exercise, and all the things that are so important. So, sometimes through tragedy, you can learn, life lessons. And that's one of the top life lessons that I've definitely learned from him as a mentor. Some of the other things were, he taught me how to recognize things in your everyday life and then apply them to marketing, and how marketing is everywhere around you. And at that point, I was taking the subway, into work every day. And I had a couple of trains that I had to transfer and whatnot, especially when I lived out in Brooklyn before I moved to Upper East Side. So I would see a lot of advertisements, and I'd be advertised to, significantly. And he would ask me questions like, what advertisements grabbed your eye on the train this morning? What did you read? Whatever. And we would talk about that, talk about the colors, and talk about, what about that stood out, and so forth, because that's banner advertising on the web. As the average person is advertised to 1,000 times a day. How many things are you clicking on per day? How many things are you signing up to? How many things are you buying per day? What messages are connecting with you? And that's really where my talents come in terms of all of the advertising, and all the things that I do today is all based upon how do I stop and interrupt somebody's pattern for the day and get them to take an action. It's direct response marketing. I have a giant book behind me that he made me buy. It's probably about this thick, and it talks all about newspaper, direct response marketing, and direct mail. Totally outdated technology, but he forced me to read it because that's the fundamental of direct response marketing. And then he made me do a book report on it as well, and then made my staff do a book report on each chapter each week, just so we could better understand and become students of direct response marketing. So he forced me into that. Then another thing he forced me to do is go to IKEA, and he said, try to get through there without buying, whatever, right? And IKEA makes you go up and down the aisles, and they force you to look at every single thing. If they had the aisles set up like this, you don't have to go down certain aisles. And the way that IKEA is set up, it forces you to go down there, and it makes it super easy to just take the little tag, write down, and so forth. And that user experience of IKEA is really what made that company so successful. And that's how we need to structure our websites, and that's how we need to structure our processes online. We need to be like IKEA and force them to look at every single offer that we have. And, then at the end, they'll check out, give their card, and, make a purchase. That's another huge aspect of online marketing, because, when you're face-to-face or selling somebody over the phone, you can direct the conversation and guide them and, where you want them to go. But on the web, they are free to close the tab, never come back to your site, disappear, whatever. You really have to grab that attention, and, you have less than a second to get them to feel like they can trust you and they want to take those next steps and go down the process. And he helped me realize that and consider that. And I took those, qualities of user experience and selling online, and I was able to help make him a great deal of money, and then help them to exit that company in 2014. And, then I went on to do some pretty cool things for myself. So really
That's awesome.
it's those aspects that, really defined my marketing career, because anyone has access to Facebook ads, Google ads, any of these platforms, TikTok ads. You can even sign up for TikTok ads, even Hulu. Like you can sign up and start running ads on Hulu right now. Like all these platforms, anyone can run ads on the platforms. There's millions of people doing it. So that's more competition. That's more people vying for those eyeballs. How are you going to stand out against those millions of people and millions of sites? Literally, I could have an idea this morning, have the website online by afternoon, and make my first sale before I go to bed. How do you compete with me? And literally, I don't even have to have the product. I can drop ship the product, or do whatever needs to be done. I could. There's all sorts of ways to source products. I could beat you and beat Walmart and beat all these huge companies every single day. And I do every single day. I beat out a lot of these companies for sales. So how are you going to compete?
Yep. Hold that thought. We'll come back after the break because I want to dig into that. I've got some questions here wrapped around that. What like incredibly valuable information that is being shared here today. I mean, it's absolutely, I mean, you're getting to hear, I know I brag on my son, yet this is somebody who is succeeding in online business, and it's just so much fun to listen to somebody just share those ideas. And we'll be back with Matt Ganzak in a couple of minutes here. You're listening to MotivationU the Podcast, live from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill.
We still hear it. The sound of victory, the joy of being part of something great. And while things may not be the same right now, we haven't gone anywhere. If you bleed orange and blue, then Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Looking for more reasons to celebrate? We have them here at Celebration Point. Enjoy some of the newest additions to our already celebratory lineup, like Dave & Buster's, Les Macarons, and Prime and Pearl. There's always a reason to celebrate. Join us anytime for any occasion. Celebration Point, where Gators come to celebrate.
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe this. Look what you have done to my truck.
Excuse me, it's your fault, it's not my fault.
Yes, it is your fault. I am calling Jeffrey Meldon from Meldon Law.
So I'm gonna call Jeffrey, my husband.
Meldon Law, this is Jeffrey speaking.
Jeffrey!
This crazy lady here, this crazy lady, he might...
New client?
Yes, but this one might be a little tricky.
Welcome back to MotivationU the Podcast, and my guest Matt Ganzak. This podcast was built for local business leaders, people that lead other people, that make an impact on people's lives, and you don't have to be, Bill Gates or Warren Buffett to make an impact on people's lives. And there's people that are doing that every day, and Matt is one of those individuals. And you can hear this podcast or see it live on Facebook, of course. If you have any questions, feel free to send us one. Just put it in the comment. It's on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Overcast, wherever else you can find your podcast. We're there, and we love to do this show every single week. So, Matt, we were talking about some of your business adventures and the successes that you've had, which has been many. And You went through some challenges too, and you made a mental shift. I can remember what I refer to as the horse lady back in 2005, 2006, and then the guy that got you to basically move to Miami a number of years ago. How did you deal with those challenging clients, and what was the shift in your mentality that got you onto a different path?
Yeah. So everything's experience. Like every step is just another step, going up to experience. And, if you want to work with me today, there's a lot of zeros, and you have to pay that, up front, kind of a big number. You got to pay that up front. And then I want a percentage of your business as well, because I'm confident in what it is that my team and I are going to do. But early on, I built my first couple of stores and my first couple of projects in 2006 for $500. So you gave me $500 and you got a worker for 90 days for like $500. And, it's crazy to think now, I'm doing kind of the similar work, and typically it's about $500,000 a year for me to do the same amount of work. And it's with all my commissions and all the things that kick in, it's the same work. It's swinging the same hammer, it's typing the same code, it's doing the exact same thing. It's just I have the experience and the confidence now that we will deliver and we will accomplish that, and we'll do the work. And we deliver, and we deliver over and over again, those people that we work with. So, starting off with the first project and the first, everything was very unclear, right? The expectations are unclear. The goals of where we're trying to get to are unclear. Each part of the puzzle was unclear. I understand the user experience of, having a website where people could list their horses for sale. I understand that. But where are the customers coming from? How are we marketing to those customers? How are we bringing those customers in? What are those customers willing to pay for this type of service? How can we maximize our profits and our revenue by getting cut in on the deals? How can we track that? How can we, like so on and so forth. So all those things I didn't think about early on. All I thought about was, wow, this is a great idea. Let me build it. And I build it, and, lady would disappear. Expectations are mismatched, and the project fails. The project, falls off a cliff. No one wants to work with it. I don't have equity in it, goodbye, whatever. And then, fast forward to, 2014, and the gentleman I'm working with is like, hey, I got all these great things going on. Come down to my, $1 million mansion in Miami, and, I'll schmooze you and woo you and so forth. And, I'll pay you a couple of checks. And the first couple of checks came in really quick. And then the checks started coming in slower, and I started having to chase money. And, the project was like, hey, let's just launch my career off, and then we'll do your career next, and it will get you launched off. And there was no intention at any point in time of ever pushing me forward to have me have any facet of success or anything in that regard. That was never part of his plan. So, seeing the shysters and seeing those people that, just want to leverage, which leverage is great. I mean, I love capitalism. I love leverage. I love all of those things, but don't find yourself in a position where you are being leveraged and you are the person that you're not, your expectations of what you want to achieve are not being met in the timeline of which, you have to achieve. So on both sides of the coin, as the business owner, you need to be clear with your staff and be clear with those expectations up front, and, give them the fair, guide to get them to where they want to be, and have everyone be on the same page. And then on the flip side, as an employee, be fair and honest with your expectations and what you want out of the position and, out of the job and so forth. And, learn where the business owner wants to take the company and so forth. So I was kind of on the wrong side of that coin, but again, chalked up as experience. Like, yes, it was. I would have not been able to do what I can do today without going through that experience. So I don't look back and say like, oh, I've gotten, beat with baseball bats. I say, hey, I've learned a lot of great lessons and I'm really applying that to my business. And that's going to allow me as my goal to be the CEO of a $1 billion company within the next 10 years.
So I can share with you as a dad, I mean, we used to have those long phone calls where you would share some of the struggles at that time with me, and that was painful. Yet, you know, there was something inside that I was hearing that, yes, he was sharing the problem, but he was also creating the solution as he was sharing the problem, which was really a key thing. But, you know, you'll experience it with your daughter someday, you know, when they're going through those business things that are a challenge, you know, your heart feels for them, yet you see in them that they have the tools to finish it off. Now, much of your team, and when you mention your team, much of your team, some of the people you've never met, some of the individuals that work with you. So your team is kind of global. How do you recruit? How do you manage? And how do you motivate those people that are around the world working in different parts of the country, different parts of the world, I should say?
So I have hired and fired somewhere in the vicinity of 250 people. And I've spent somewhere in the vicinity of $750 to $1 million over the last 5 years on people that I've never met in person. So like, I mean, that's pretty substantial, right?
Contract employees?
All contract employees that I've never met in person. Yeah. And, you know, with that being said, you know, you need to become really good at communication and really good at, you know, managing expectations up front. And, you know, I'm developing software and technology in languages I don't speak. And yet I'm able to look at it and understand, you know, how many, the word is commits, how many commits they're making to our code base. And I get updates on all of that. And then I get a screenshot of their screen every 10 minutes. So I'm able to go back and do some accounting. I usually do that on the weekends, and then pay goes out on Monday based upon, you know, how they worked for, you know, the week. And I get to understand where the project is and, you know, kind of see on their screen what they're doing. And, you know, I have one guy working on a project now, and I was noticing he was just going back and forth between, you know, cursors, just back and forth in the code. And I was noticing that no lines of code had been changed. And I could see his keystrokes and all the other things like that. And I sent him a message, and I said, not like, hey man, you're fired, you know, like you're not delivering your end of the deal. I messaged him and said, what do we need? What do we need to get this project moving along? Do I need to hire more staff? Do I need QA, which is quality assurance? Do I need to bring on testers? Do I need to bring in front end guys? Do I need to bring in designers? Tell me what it is that I need to do in order to, you know, forward this project. And, you know, he was appreciative of that and appreciative of that message. Like, oh, we're almost close to, you know, QA. We're almost close to that now. And I said, fantastic. Let me know, you know, how I can, you know, be of service and help move this project along. So point being, it's me and my project management skills and management skills overall that have allowed us to be able to create the technology. And, you know, you'll find the right people and you'll run into the wrong people. And saying like, you know, the platform I use is called Upwork, saying, you know, Upwork doesn't work because, you know, I hired some guy and he just took my $500 and this is just a scam platform. Yeah, there's a lot of people that'll just take $500 from you and disappear. I mean, that's anywhere in the world, right? But there are people on that platform that I've spent, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars on, and I've invested in them. And, you know, I know, you know, where they are with their family, and I know, you know, where their desires are, and I create a scenario. So we have this one app that is doing like 30,000 a month right now. I said, when we get to 50,000 a month, I want to cut you in on, you know, a percentage of that revenue that goes beyond 50, because I mean, that's our bottom line expenses and, you know, all the things and taxes and all the things I have to pay for. So once we cross that threshold, I really want to share in the profits with you. So it motivates him to, you know, take that product up and go beyond 50,000 a month. And that's one project that we have going. And I silo each person as an owner, like that they feel ownership in the project, and then give them give them the guidelines of where the company would be able to start, profit sharing with them. And it motivates them to take it up and take it beyond where we have to go. And that's how you win.
You just explained in such a wonderful way in the last 5-6 minutes. My favorite Dale Carnegie principle in leadership is ask questions instead of giving direct orders, which is just one of the things that, we were just discussing that principle the other day in class, where it's just such a valuable thing. We have like 14 minutes in this show left, and I've got like 100,000 questions I want to talk with you about. But
one thing as part of that is you must fail fast with your employees. Like I had one person charge me hourly to update her Adobe software. And that was the first thing that she did. And I saw the screens and so forth, and I fired her right on the spot. I said, keep the $45. We're done. I'm not going forward. So you have to fail early with your people, but give them enough opportunity to win, but fail super early. Because if I tried to turn her into the thing that we needed for this company, I would have failed miserably and I would have lost time. So, there's always more money. There's never more time. So, you have to buy people's time intelligently and not lose your time in the process. So, fail early. So I didn't ask her any questions. I just told her, you're fired. But,
we're done.
In that circumstance, like, if there was a way to
that's a
salvage
character issue too.
There could have been, but, don't charge me to, $45 to update your software. That's not that, if you're doing that on day one, like, you have some serious business ethic issues.
Matt,
but back to what you're saying.
You've evolved business-wise with all the changes in your personal life. I've watched you shift your mentality when you and Sachi got married, and you've done such a seamless job. And now, as fatherhood has brought onto you, how do you keep that balance? What is the key? I know your daughter's only 14 months old, my granddaughter. Yet, even in that short period of time, I see a balance. Just share with us quickly how you keep that balance.
The biggest thing is communication. And Sachi and I have a communication where, we voice what it is that we want. And we let the other person have what it is that they want within reason. And, we have that communication. And, some of the things are, I have some things that I enjoy doing, and, I do them for a confined amount of time. And before is family time, I get to, do my time and spend the things I enjoy doing. And then after that is time with her. So, we come to an agreement on and a compromise on what it is that we want to do. Otherwise, either of us would hold resentment, and there would be stress and pain, and that would build up. And after 10, 15 years, I can imagine that would turn into a bad situation. But we have that communication where we, within reason, describe what it is that we want. And we are able to live the life that we want and do the things that we want to do. Another thing is, I'll just come out and say it, making good money. Like, one of the biggest stresses on families right now is money and, not being able to pay bills. And, for us, like, we've had some stresses in terms of, like, I've made some pretty big investments. I put $500,000 in, 1 year into a software that failed. And, she didn't come to me and say, hey, I don't know if, you can, manage our family and manage our finances when you're making bad decisions. I think it's 2019, when you're making bad business decisions. She said, you know what, you learned a lot from that, and you're not going to make that same mistake again. Here's how, and then we talked about how we're going to go forward and, solve that problem. Then I got into day trading earlier this year, and I lost like $17,000 in an hour, or whatever. And I was like, hey, Sachi, I lost a bunch of money just now. And she's like, all right, well, what did we learn from that? And, like, those are the situations, right? So, it's a matter of having that communication, not flying off the handle, and understanding the other person's point of view and, what the other person wants, and creating the life that you want based upon that. which isn't possible without having income and passive income at that. So you have to have streams of income today. Retirement for me is not going to happen. Like if I were to put money into a retirement account, I was sitting down talking to a financial advisor, and again, like, why am I going to sit down and talk to a guy that makes like 10 times less than I do and have him tell me about finances, whatever. But I'm sitting down and talking to this financial advisor, and he's like, well, you need to put, this money into this and this money into that. And Sachi turns to me, she's like, why don't we just keep doing what we're doing? Obviously we're doing something right. Just keep doing what we're doing and just keep building streams of income and just having, these streams coming in. And we made that decision that, we're going to keep doing that. So number one, find a great partner that is going to support you and work together and, have that good teamwork. And then, have that clear communication on, where you want to be and, what each person wants day to day, month to month, year to year, whatever. And you have to build streams of income. Like, you honestly are not going to be able to retire or do the things you want to do later in life if you don't have multiple streams of income, because at the rate of inflation right now, it could be, $10 million a year is middle class. I don't know, in 10 years, 15 years, like $10 million a year could be the middle class. And it's crazy to think, but they are literally minting $1 trillion coin right now and talking about it. Like, these people have no idea what's going on, and that is affecting our kids and our grandkids and everything else. So you need to make a ton of money in order to offset what's going on in the world today. And I would tell you, we would have a lot of stress if we wouldn't have the money coming in that we have.
Awesome. I appreciate that. I absolutely love my daughter-in-law. After that 5 minutes, I even love her a lot more. I love her spunk, that Cuban spirit that she has, that her mom and dad has instilled in her, which is just awesome. So you have a new project. We got about 8 minutes to go here. Let's talk about this new project, which is I refer to it here in my notes as the Sophia Bella collection. How did that get started, and what is your thought process on that?
So the first thing is, we were talking about trust funds, and we were saying, like, how do we set up a trust fund for her? And, that's the point of, like, money is just devaluing. And how do you put money into something that appreciates in value at a rate that offsets the depreciation and inflation of currency, right? So we sat down and we were talking about that and just talking about, the future of our family and, setting up a trust fund and all of that. And I said, well, the best thing that we can do is set up a business and, have the trust fund own part of the business where we're paying in dividends into the trust fund out of the company. And then that would set up our kids for life, right? So that is the concept of where that came from. And then when she was born, I started looking at our credit card statements and started seeing how much money we were spending on, like, kids' clothes and, like, kids' products and whatnot. And I did some research and come to find out that the number one audience demographic of people that buy things are new moms. It's the number one audience that spend the most amount of money. And they buy children's stuff and stuff for their kids. So I was like, all right, let's develop something in that niche, and let's research. And we spent a year of research buying from all of our competitors and finding, what works, what doesn't work, what we like, what we don't like. And we created a product line based upon that. And we're working on manufacturing that now for production.
That is awesome. And when do you think that'll hit the stores?
It's tough to say. I'm a huge proponent of, made in America and having, products made here. And I don't want to make the products overseas. And when we did the research of children's clothing, the specific children's clothing that we definitely like, it's all made in China. And we don't want to make our product in China. Like, I don't want, literally children making my children's clothes that I'm profiting off of. Like, I have a level of business ethics that, I'll stick my foot down on that one. So I want, people in the United States making fair wages and developing our adults making fair wages, developing our clothes and, selling them online. Even if it costs us more money, we'll figure out how to do it. So, we're figuring out how to ship product here right now with, the issues, because we have to get, the threads from other places and all of that, and we can assemble it here in the United States. And then I'm trying to also find manufacturers here in the United States that can create the products for us, and, hitting a wall. Like, no one makes anything in the United States anymore. So, if anyone wants to reach out and, sells fabric, please send me a message. I will buy from you. But point being, we have to find where to source the products. And I just put my foot down on assembling the products, and I want them assembled here. And that's what we decided. So we're, here's our square footage for our new office that we're building. So we have our office all set up. Those people that are, on video, we have 2 offices that we're buying side by side, one for our office, one for our warehouse and production. So we're buying that. We move in May, and I'm looking at buying printers so we can actually make our own direct to garment printing and do all those things. But I'm just trying to figure it out, and just trying to, figure out how to produce these things at, something that meets my business ethics and my core values. Because at the end of the day, like, you have to define your core values, and then you just live your life based upon those core values, and you just don't waver from them, and you'll be in a good place.
Matt, you have spoken all over the world. You've given talks in Greece, other countries, other cities, other states around the country. How does somebody get a hold of you if they want to contact you to come share your thoughts and ideas with their company or their team?
Yeah, you can reach out. I'm on, all social medias, usually Facebook the most, because that's where my ads account is. So I log in Facebook, and, I'll see a little notification of a new message, whatever, that's a good place to reach me. Sometimes I know emails get lost. I receive probably in the vicinity of 2,000 emails per day. But so, you can try to send me an email if you want to, but, usually Facebook, I'm on there because that's where our ads account is, and that's where the money is. So, log in and, drop me a message on there.
Also, you can, if you follow Matt on Facebook, there are quite a few hilarious things that get posted. Quickly, in 1 minute, you're making like money in T-shirts. I mean, T-shirts, big money.
How did that get started? $1 million last month.
1 million last month.
Yeah, last month alone. And, I had a guy reach out to me and said, hey, I'm making about $25,000 a year selling my shirts. I really feel like this thing could blow up and we could go someplace with this. You want to help me with this? I was like, yeah, let's do it. And we built a team around it, and, he's built out his warehouse and all of that. He manages all the product and all of that. And I have managed all the marketing and, all the advertising for the business. And we've built out an awesome team, and, we all know what we're doing. We all know what our requirements are. And, we're making, $35,000 a day selling, printed T-shirts that just say something on them, just a T-shirt, and some hats and, some other apparel and whatnot, trying to expand out a little bit. But yeah, we're on track to do $12 million a year or more, for 2022 selling T-shirts.
And just obscure sayings. I mean, you brainstorm ideas and thoughts, put it on a shirt, find the right niche for the people that would be interested in that vernacular of a topic, and they purchase it. And it's a pretty simple solution.
Yeah, last month we sold $125,000 in shirts before they were even made. And then we're like, all right, now we got to make them.
That's a tough problem to have. That's a tough problem.
Yeah, we made $125,000 in one day, and a lot of that organic. It just went viral, and we were just like, all right, we have back end partners, we have people that can deliver and so forth. You just have to build the right team and have the right product and put it out there and the right message, and crazy things will happen. And crazy things happen to your life when you start doing crazy stuff.
Matt, I want to thank you very much for being with us today. You couldn't give a better birthday present to your dad than than sharing an hour on this Zoom call and ideas. I'd love to have you back. As a matter of fact, I would love to have you and your sister on sometime at the same time. It would be an interesting thing to see the educational, traditional educational, and the earn the educational sides of getting to corporate America. I think that would be something that would really be interesting. So,
yeah, I got 15 seconds from her yesterday. So she gave me 15 seconds of her time yesterday. So it was a big deal, big day for me yesterday with her.
Well, enjoy your day. Thank you for sharing it with us. This is MotivationU the Podcast, live from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, Celebration Point, for my great producer, Evan Miller, Mr. Everything. I appreciate it, Evan. Have a wonderful day.